Welcome in to Outkick the Show. I am your fearless leader, Clay Travis. Appreciate all of you coming in on a Wednesday afternoon in January. Much to get to, but first I want to tell you, make sure that everybody goes and checks out oddshark.com for all of your gambling and informational related needs. I also want to encourage you, everybody out there, want to encourage you to make sure that you go to thehomeloanexpert.com and get hooked up with the best possible deal you can on your mortgage. Thehomeloanexpert.com. They'll turn a 4% rate into a 2% rate. They'll help you skip mortgage payments monthly while you get your financial house in order. I'm telling you right now, you will be glad that you did. Get hooked up now. Thehomeloanexpert.com. And I want to tell you, Outkick has a law firm. If you need a lawyer for any reason, I will put you in touch with the best possible lawyer you need for whatever your demands are. Go to OutkickLaw.com. That's Outkick Law. It's Outkick, which is the word on this screen, law.com, and we will hook you up and everybody will be good to go. All right, rundown today as we get rolling. Karma may have struck me down. People have been saying for a long time, be careful of your karma. Be careful what you say. It will bounce back on you. I went after JMart for not driving into work on Tuesday during the snowstorm. This morning, we had a trial of JMart. He has been found guilty of dereliction of show duty, and he will have a punishment that he has to serve, which I will announce tomorrow morning. I am open to whatever suggestions you may have for punishments that JMart should serve for not coming in. At Clay Travis on Twitter, you can share that with me. If you don't listen to the morning show or download the podcast, frankly, I think you're wasting your life. We had a trial of JMart live on the air with listener calls on this morning. And tomorrow morning in the early first hour segments, I will announce what his punishment will be for violating his oath to Outkick for dereliction of duty. But I got to tell you, this morning, still snowy here in Nashville, I decided kids are still out of school. I decided I was going to make my body even better than it already is and go to the gym. So I got into the car, snowy day, pull out of the garage. It's about 8:30 or so this morning. I've got my 7-year-old in the back with me because he's going to come hang out at the gym with me, all right? And I have a choice to make as I get into the car. Do I get the Mercedes sedan or do I get into the Lincoln Navigator? All right, which one of those two do I decide to get into? And so I decided to get into the Lincoln Navigator. That's even though my wife has been obsessed with the fact that she says our Lincoln Navigator, which is a big SUV, which I'm thinking is the safest thing to be driving around in, we have rear-wheel drive. Now, I don't know. Now, I'm not an expert here. Do you guys know the difference between rear-wheel drive and not rear-wheel drive? Because my wife has been on this for a while. We were told when we bought the vehicle that there was no way that we needed rear-wheel drive. What is rear-wheel drive? Sorry, we didn't need all-wheel drive. What does rear-wheel drive mean? What does rear-wheel drive mean? Why would anybody have rear-wheel drive? That's my question for you guys. I'm not a car guy. Rear-wheel drive does suck in the snow, yes. Why would somebody have rear-wheel drive? Like, why would it exist? Honest question. Why would rear-wheel drive exist? What is the advantage that you are going to get when you have rear-wheel drive? I understand that it's bad in the snow. I understand all of that. I'm saying, what's the benefit of rear-wheel drive? What is the benefit that I would have for having rear-wheel drive? I understand that front is better for the snow. All of these things are true. But what is the reason why rear-wheel drive would even exist? I don't understand why rear-wheel drive exists if front-wheel drive seems to be the preference of everybody. Better gas mileage? I don't give a fuck about gas mileage. It goes faster? Okay. Pulling trailers? There is none. All right. A lot of you are saying there is none. So I've got a rear-wheel drive vehicle. Never really had a rear-wheel drive vehicle. To my wife's credit, when we bought it, she said, you know what? I think we need a front-wheel drive vehicle. I said, you know what? The car dealer here said it never snows in Nashville. You're never going to have any issues with it. You will never have any issue. You ought to get the rear wheel drive. And I said, all right, we'll get the rear wheel drive. So I pull out in my neighborhood, make one turn on the road, and then I make one more turn to get out. It's still a bit icy and snowy in the back roads. As I turn, the back of my car just completely loses it. The back of my car starts to spin, and I'm totally out of control in the car. I've got zero control over it, and I'm thinking, I'm not going very fast because I'm driving in the snow, and I'm thinking to myself, I swear to God, the very first thing I thought was, oh my God, if I hit a car, if I have an accident here, my wife is never going to stop talking about this. Second thought I had, literally as I'm losing control of the vehicle and trying to steer it and gain control of it, second thought I have is, this is going to be bad for my argument with JMart. This is not good for my argument with JMart that I've been after him for not driving in the snow. And on the second turn that I make in the snow, I lose the back end of my vehicle and it starts to lose control. And I swear, I've got my 7-year-old back there. We're not going very fast, but it's like slow motion. I have time. Everybody says life flashes before your eyes. What flashed before my eyes was my wife never stopping to talk about the fact that she was right about how this vehicle shouldn't be driven in the snow. And the second thing I thought was, this is going to be bad for my argument with JMart. I've just sentenced him as being guilty for being a pussy in the snow, and now I'm going to have an accident. So I go up on the curb of the sidewalk, and I swear to God, there's like a tree every 20 yards, and I'll be damned if I didn't hit the tree head on. I mean, just fucking nailed the tree. Just powered into the tree. And so the car comes to a stop, sitting there for a minute. And I'm thinking to myself, this is why I shouldn't go to the gym. Going to the gym will kill you. And so I'm sitting there, and there's nobody else around, nobody else driving. And I've just plowed into a tree. And the tree is just like sitting there like, what's up, bitch? Like the tree didn't even move. The tree was like what you or I would look like if we just ran right into Julio Jones. It just stood there and held its ground. Didn't even move at all. Didn't even flinch. Just took the fucking SUV, the Lincoln Navigator, right to the chin. Like a chin like concrete. Like Mike Tyson back in the day. It was impossible to overturn. All right? So I look at it and I think, this is shitty. So I get out and I go look at the front of the car. And before I swear to God, I got to give props to my son, my 7-year-old. Before I get out, I say, man, your mom is never going to stop talking about this, that we just hit a tree. And I swear to God, without skipping a beat, my 7-year-old says, Dad, don't tell her, duct tape it. Swear to God. Swear to God, my 7-year-old is in the back of the car, just totally has my back. It's like I just committed a murder. I don't even have to ask for his support. He just immediately goes straight sociopath. He says, Dad, don't tell her, duct tape it. Just like dead serious. He's like, you don't have to tell her, Dad. And I was like, what are we going to do? He's like, you just duct tape it. Just don't tell her anything at all. Just take it back home and just don't tell her anything at all. He said, I won't tell her. I said, you really think, you think we can duct tape it? You think that she won't find out if we duct tape it? Duct tape fixes everything, Dad. Duct tape fixes everything. I'm like, you know what? There's an argument there. I think if I broke my arm, if I just got the right duct tape and taped it up, I think my arm would probably be okay. So, by the way, free ad there for duct tape. You know who to hit up if you want to get millions of viewers. Duct tape right here. I got you. So I get out, and it's pretty noticeable that we hit the tree. The tree, again, not impacted. Although I did think for a minute, what would have happened if the tree had come over? And one benefit, there were cars parked on the road, and I could have just plowed into. This would have been difficult too. I could have just plowed right into somebody's brand new car, which would have doubled the damage, because then I would have to definitely pay and go get an advertise, go get everything else, like just a parked car. It could have been a disaster. So back the car up, drive it home. I've been gone for like 4 minutes. Pull back in, open the garage door, pull in, open the door. My wife's like, you guys back from the gym already? And I was like, well, we hit a tree. And she's like, no, you didn't. I said, no, seriously, we hit a tree. She said, no, you're just trying to get me to come outside in the cold and look at the car. You're pulling a prank on me. You didn't really hit a tree. I said, no, we hit a tree. We hit a tree. And she comes downstairs and she's just beaming. It's like the greatest goddamn day of her life. She's like, really? You hit a tree? And I said, yeah, I hit a tree. And so she comes outside, she gets down and looks at the car, and her day is made. And then I come inside and I'm like, and she said, you're going to have to apologize to Jason Martin because you just found him to have violated all the rules about driving in the snow, and now you just went out and hit a tree. And I swear to God, I think it's worth the $4 or $5 grand to fix the car because, first of all, it's not her money. Like, it's my money. I got to pay to fix the car. And now she's right forever because she called me. We took the car to Michigan, and she called me and said, I want to return this car. I never want to drive this car again. Rear-wheel drive is the worst. And I was like, nobody knows the difference between rear-wheel drive and front-wheel drive. They're basically the same thing. You need to get over it. She's like, you cannot drive the car in rear-wheel drive. If you can't drive a car with rear-wheel drive in the snow. And so I don't know what to say. I mean, we got in the car, and it's now a disaster, and she has been proven 100% right, and it doesn't cost her any money at all. And you know what's happening? We're buying a new car, and now, instead of buying a new car for me, I am just going to take her old car, the one with rear-wheel drive, and she gets another brand new car. By the way, we've been married for, 14 years, never gotten a new car. Never gotten a new car for me. Every time I buy a new car, she gets the new car, and I get her old car. This is a long-range trend now. Every time we get a new car, I just get whatever she doesn't want anymore, and she gets a brand new one. I want to come back in life as my wife. A lot of people are like, I'd like to come back in life and be an NFL quarterback. I'd like to come back in life and be like LeBron James. I'd like to come back in life and be the president of the United States. I would like to come back in life and be my wife because you have like 8 gym memberships. You get a brand new car. Whenever your husband screws up, it doesn't matter. You get something new. I think there's not a better gig in America right now than my wife. Everybody else is like, one day I'd like to win the lottery. I want to come back as my wife. You only have to sleep with me like every other week. You got a nice house to live in. You don't have to have a job. You get lots of stuff. Nobody ever really questions your credit card expenditures. I felt like the guy was you heard the joke about how like the guy lost his credit card, but he didn't report it stolen because the person who stole the credit card was using it less frequently than his wife. That's like me. I look at our credit card bill sometime and I'm like, I don't even know what these things are. Like, I don't spend that much money other than when I hit trees and I have to repair the car. I'll look at the credit card bill sometime and I don't even know what all these products are. I don't know what these businesses are. Like, I've got no idea what she has a credit card just for her. I look at it, I'm like, I don't even understand how you could possibly spend this kind of money. Doesn't make any sense to me at all. Like, I don't understand how it's remotely possible. And so that's the truth. That's the truth. So I'm going to come back in life. I hope I get reincarnated as my wife. I'd like to come back in time, go back in time, come back as my wife. All right? That's the truth. Then my wife is watching downstairs. She said, then I'll have to put up with me. Greatest deal ever. Greatest deal ever to have to put up with me. All of you have to put up with me, and you're not even married to me. So it really wouldn't change very much at all. All right. Questions. Questions about my wrecking of the car. Questions about my wife being proven right. Questions about JMart now, even though he's been found guilty in a court of law, live on the air with Outkick, everything else. Does this lighten the sentence? I don't know. I'm going to JMart know about the accident. I'll take a step back here for a minute about JMart. JMart has, take it back. My wife might have the best gig. JMart might have the second best gig. He's the producer of my show, right, of Outkick the Coverage, and I don't know where he goes all day. I don't know. This is I'm going to bring it up on the radio tomorrow. I believe that if you work for me, if I call you, you should either answer the phone or you should be within the phone call range within like 2 minutes, right? I'm your boss. If I call you at any point of the day or night, you should answer your phone or call me back within 2 minutes. That's what I believe. I have my phone beside me. Other than when I'm at the gym, I can respond to anybody pretty much all day long within 2 minutes. JMart disappears for like 9 hours at a time, 10 hours at a time. He's producing the show, and other people like who are trying to book the show, they'll be like, hey, do you want this guy? And I'm like, JMart is supposed to be in charge of this. And yet I'm booking the show. I'm doing I don't know where he goes. I don't know what he does. I honestly don't know where he is. I texted him earlier, 5 hours, he hasn't responded. I don't get it. I only seem to be with people or employed by people who don't respect me or respond in any way. My wife's the same way. Call her, never answers. She calls me, I answer. It's unbelievable. I don't know where people go. I'm the most reachable, accessible person. I tweeted JMart about hitting a tree 8 hours ago. He still hasn't responded. Where is he? Is this a ridiculous proposition of mine? I believe that if you work for me, you basically have to respond at any moment, any time of the day or night if I need you to get in touch with. If I want to call JMart and just talk to him while I'm watching like a marathon of the hills, to me, he should have to answer his phone and listen to me talk about a marathon of the hills. If the challenge is on MTV and I don't have anybody to talk to, I should be able to call JMart and he just has to sit there and listen to me talk about the challenge. Any day or night, he has to be there. I don't know where he goes. Other day, we had Hugh Freeze. I'm like, hey, we're trying to get Hugh Freeze scheduled. Just vanishes, middle of the day. Now, look, I'll give you a pass. If, like, I'm not the kind of guy, I'm not Elon Musk. I'm not texting people at 3 a.m. expecting a response in 20 minutes. Like, I don't text people in the middle of the night, other than the fact that I do, of course, because I work all the time, get up at 4 a.m. every day. But if you don't respond, if I text you at 4 a.m. and you don't respond until like 7 or 8, I'm not judging you because I understand that my hours are out of whack. But in the middle of the day, if I text you, you should respond within 5 minutes. Is that too much to ask for? Is that a ridiculous request? So I don't know. Jason Martin hasn't responded to me hitting a tree because I have no idea where he is and I don't know what he does. He doesn't have a wife or kids. To me, I should take the place of his wife or kids. He should be responsive to me at every minute of every second of every day. If I need something, he should be there. If I forget to get flowers for my wife, JMart should have to drive him over. I'm going to bring all this up tomorrow. I don't know where he goes. I don't know what he does. It's a vanish. Naps, maybe. Maybe he takes naps, but all day in the middle of the day? I mean, maybe he hit a tree too. That's actually a really funny line. Maybe he hit a tree. Maybe he's killed himself in a tragic snow accident. Because he was trying to prove his manhood because I've been too difficult on him for not being willing to live. He might be a crime-fighting double agent. I don't know. He might be a CIA agent. He might be like narking people for NSA. I don't know what he does all day. I don't know what he does. I don't know where he goes. His life is definitely opaque. I'm going to bring all this up tomorrow as part of the sentencing. I don't know where he could go. I just don't know what in the world could be going on. That is, if he is dead, I will feel bad. If he died, this will be an unbelievable thing because people will pull it back and they'll be like, Clay Travis's producer died and Clay Travis was making fun of him for not getting in touch with him, and that'll be a bad situation. If he died in a accident in snow, I don't know what we would do. I think I would just have to come on and be like, man, I don't know what you would say. I mean, I think I would just take it head on. If I had known Jason Martin was going to die in a snow accident, I never would have made fun of the fact that he didn't want to drive in the snow. That's the way I think I would just have to address it head on. No pun intended. I don't know how you dodge that. For the last several days, I've made fun of Jason Martin because he didn't want to drive in the snow. And then tragically, earlier today, he decided to drive in the snow and he died in a car accident. And I would like to say that, that I feel like it was a bad thing to make fun of him for not driving in the snow. But I didn't know he was going to die in the snow when I was making fun of him for not driving in the snow. If I had known that he was going to die in the snow, I never would have made fun of him. I don't know what the reaction would be on social media. I feel like people would be like, oh my God, Clay Travis is heartless. But that's not true because I practiced the golden rule. And I'm telling all of you right now, if I died in a ridiculous fashion, I would expect for you guys to have fun with the way that I died. For instance, if instead of hitting a tree and doing minor damage to my car, if I had slid off the side of a cliff while trying to drive in the snow and I had died, you totally would have been within your rights to call the voicemail line and light me up for dying in an ironic fashion. If I have to die, I'd prefer to never die. But if I were to have to die, I would prefer to die in a somewhat humorous / ironic situation because at least then my death, much like my life, could bring enormous joy to so many people. And so most people die when they're old, in a hospital room, in a not very exciting way. I would be okay with dying in an ironic fashion if it brought joy to people. For instance, I would like to live for longer. But remember when the guy who invented what was the guy who invented the mover thing? What's that thing called? Like somebody tell me what that thing's called. The thing you ride around on? The thing you ride around on that's not like a scooter. Somebody is going to know what I'm talking about. The moped. When that was the Segway. The guy who invented the Segway drove off a cliff in the Segway, right? The guy who invented the Segway drove off the cliff in a malfunctioning Segway. That's a pretty good way to go, I think. To have your invention that you've been trying to create for everybody, to then just drive off of a cliff. Did he drive off of a cliff intentionally or accidentally? Do we know? The Segway guy went off a cliff, right? Was that an intentional death or was that an unintentional death? It's funnier if it was an unintentional death. Because if it was an intentional death, it's maybe a little bit ironic that he chose to go that way, but I'm pretty sure that he went off unintentionally off a cliff. That is a way to go. If I had invented the Segway and then I died because I went off a cliff and it was intentionally, nobody seems to know. I'm pretending that it's unintentional because I think it was accidentally. So see, everybody accidentally on purpose. Nobody seems to know what the accident. Everybody seems to think it was an accident. It was an accident here. So I think he accidentally drove off the side of a cliff. If that happens to me one day, that I die in an ironic fashion, you all have the right to ridicule me. You all have the right to make fun of me. There's no doubt at all. Okay? All right. So anyway, I hit a tree in the snow. Don't ever buy anything with rear-wheel drive. If your wife tells you something, just assume that she's telling the truth. And the important takeaway here is that being married to me is great. And the only thing that's even approaching that greatness is working for me. And the fact that neither my wife nor JMart actually like me is a severe indictment upon both of them. All right, that's the truth. And by the way, JMart, still no idea. You guys just blow up his phone right now with where is JMart. Right now, you guys just all blow up his phone and start to say, oh my God, the Russians are in here. See, this is a flaw, I feel like, in general. And I think I blocked the wrong person. This is a significant flaw in the Periscope system here, that such a thing as this could even be possible. This seems to be a significant issue in the larger context. I think I blocked the wrong guy trying to get those big messages. Nobody knows where JMart is. I'm sorry that I got the wrong guy. Yeah, but I think I got the wrong guy. I think, sometimes it's like Stonewall Jackson got shot by his own troops. I think I accidentally took out the wrong guy. Yeah, J-Rob there. I think I took out J-Rob accidentally. I'll try to go find him. My condolences. It's just like Stonewall Jackson. Some days you win the Battle of Chancellorsville, and when you're trying to figure out how to send the Union Army right into the river and win the war, you're jogging back in your horse, everything's going great, and you get shot by your own men. That's what just happened to J-Rob. One moment he's happy, next moment he got shot. He's going to have to get an arm amputated like Andrew Luck. He's done for. All right, this Trump doctor. Let's talk about the Trump doctor for a minute. I don't understand why everybody is obsessed with Donald Trump's health. I went and watched all the questions that were asked of Donald Trump's doctor. I've never seen so many people in a media interview begging and pleading for Donald Trump to die. That was the saddest group of people to ever receive a decent health report in the history of American life. Every media member in there was hoping that Donald Trump was going to die, was hoping that Donald Trump had dementia or Alzheimer's, that his brain wasn't working, that his heart was about to explode, that his liver was not functioning, that he only had moments to live. If that doctor had walked in and said, Donald Trump has Alzheimer's and his blood pressure is 4,000, and while we were examining him, his heart literally exploded and he is now dead, he would have gotten a standing ovation from the media. I've never seen a group of people so sad to hear that somebody is healthy. And then they peppered this doctor like crazy. First of all, I've never heard so much of an obsession about how much a man weighs. All right? Donald Trump is supposedly weighing 239 pounds. The only man in America right now who I know what they weigh is me, and I'm around 180 or 185 pounds. That's the only person in America I know how much they weigh, okay? You know why? Because every other man in America, unless I'm gambling on a prize fight or trying to figure out whether or not to draft a guy at defensive end and whether or not he can put on enough muscle to be able to play, I don't care what they weigh. There's never been a man that I've been like, man, I wonder what that guy weighs. As a kid, I remember being impressed. Like the first time you weigh 100 pounds, the first time you weigh 50 pounds, like, yeah, when you're growing, you're kind of impressed. But I don't remember the last time I worried about what a man weighs. So all of this weight obsession, I don't get. I don't get the need to put pictures of Donald Trump up and be like, hey, he's fat. Here's what I tweeted, and I'll stick by this, okay? I will stick by this to the bitter end. If Hillary Clinton had come out, and everybody out there had said of Hillary Clinton, okay? Everybody, when Hillary Clinton's weight came out, if everybody was like, man, Hillary Clinton is a fat fuck. There's no way that she actually weighs what the doctor said she weighed. The media would have lost their collective goddamn minds, okay? If somebody had come out and said, Hillary Clinton weighs $175, okay? Everybody and other guys have been like, the hell with that. Hillary Clinton's at least 195. Everybody would have lost their mind. If Hillary Clinton isn't 5'2" and 2 bills, that scale is broken. Everybody would have said, man, this is so sexist. This is so misogynistic. Nobody would ever criticize a man's height and weight. And the New York Times and CNN and MSNBC would have had all these prognosticators come on, and they would have been like, it's so patriarchal, it's so misogynistic to even require a height and weight of a president. This is an example that no woman should have to stand for. They shouldn't publicly release any of this information. And if you said anything about Hillary Clinton being fat, you would get publicly shamed. Advertisers would pull all of your money, and you would never be able to work in mainstream media again. Period. Everybody would come after you like there was no end in sight. I'm not even kidding about this. And then people are like, oh, Fox News would do it. The hell they would. If Fox News came on and said anything like Hillary Clinton is a fat ass and her doctor is lying about how much she weighs and how tall she is and how healthy she is, everybody would lose their minds. Okay? Donald Trump comes out, a healthy bill of health, by the way, from President Obama's doctor. It's not like this is a particular doctor that Donald Trump picked. This is the White House physician. He comes in and he answers every possible question the media could have about why they wish Donald Trump was dead and or about to die. And if all of that exact same stuff had happened to Hillary Clinton, there would be absolute chaos in the media streets. If I went on Twitter and Hillary Clinton was president and I attached a photo that was the least flattering of her and I said, whatever her weight was listed at, 175 maybe, if they just count her fat ass, everybody would demand that I be kicked off Twitter. Twitter would lose its collective mind. People would demand that I be fired from Fox Sports Radio. They would say this is completely unacceptable for a man to comment on the weight of a woman. They would call me misogynistic. They would say that I am sexist. There'd probably be a whole Me Too campaign levied against me for not believing the weight of Hillary Clinton. But you do it about Donald Trump and nobody cares. You ridicule him for being fat. You publish consistently the worst looking photo of him. You ridicule him to the high heavens and nobody even reacts. Think about that. Think about how insane that is. That if you treated these two situations remotely similarly, there would be no way that your advertisers would even stand behind you. If Oprah Winfrey got elected president and you said, Oprah Winfrey, there's no way she weighs 180 pounds, it would get turned into racism, sexism, everything possible that you could possibly allege. I have no idea. I have no idea what Donald Trump weighs. I don't particularly care. I really don't. If the doctor said, hey, I'm going to knock your weight down 10 pounds if you promise me that you're going to give up sweets after dinner for this entire year as your New Year's resolution. Is that ethical? I don't know. I don't know what the rules are when it comes to a White House physician being able to actually publish weights. But I do know that if you are a White House physician, you're a pretty smart dude. And if you weren't picked by Donald Trump, I'm going to rely on that guy over I'm going to rely about everybody else. The truth of the matter is this. The rules should be the same for all races and all sexes. If you can ridicule somebody for something, then you should be able to ridicule somebody else for something. That's what I do. And people don't like it because there's people out there who believe that you should be protected based on your race, your gender, your geography, your homosexuality, whatever it is. I think everybody needs to be treated the exact same. And so if you would argue this is unacceptable to do for Hillary Clinton, then you shouldn't do it for Donald Trump. And if you would argue that it's acceptable for Donald Trump, then it should be acceptable for Hillary Clinton or Oprah or Elizabeth Warren or anybody else. I've got a crazy idea. I believe that everybody should be treated equally. I know it's insane. I know it's wild, but I think that everybody should be subject to the same rules. Crazy. I know. Finally, last thoughts here. Any questions about the president's health doctor or anything else? I do have a dream. That's my dream, that everybody be treated equally. Finally, you can go read this article up. 23 million less people watch the NFL divisional round playoff games than last year. That seems like a significant issue. 23 million less, that's over 16% of the viewership has vanished in 1 year. Now, I'm not an expert. Not an expert. I just hit a tree with rear-wheel drive today. All right, so clearly not an expert. But I'm going to tell you that losing 16% of your business in 1 year is not good, and that it might reflect a simple truth. Sports fans want to watch football, not politics mixed with football. So ESPN's tanking. Everybody is tanking because they just won't play the goddamn games. That's all we need. We don't need the NFL players or any other players to try to give us a history of race in this country. We don't need anybody in the NFL to give us a history of protest in this country. We just want them to be entertaining. As I've said for a long time, if you go in to see Spider-Man, imagine how unhappy you would be if before Spider-Man started, Spider-Man came out in the opening credits and he said, "We've got to stop global warming," or "abortion is murder." You'd be like, "Fuck you, Spider-Man. All I want you to do is shoot some spider webs and save some people's life and be a good guy by the end of the movie after at the beginning of the movie you become a bad guy." That's all I want. I don't need you to give me political beliefs. I don't need to sit down to watch Batman. I don't need to sit down and watch Batman and have him come out before Batman starts and say, corporate tax rates cuts are really important. It's time we cut corporate tax rates. I agree with you, Batman, but I want to see you be morose. I want to see you in the Batcave. I want to see you in the Batmobile. I don't want to see you sharing any kind of political vision. I don't know why it's crazy to make the same statement about football players. I don't care about your real life. I don't care about your struggles. I want you to make passes and catch them or stop somebody from making passes and catch them. I want you to do your job, and your job is not to make me woke politically. Your job is not to do anything but get on the football field and entertain me. Just like if you're an actor, your job is to get on the big screen and entertain me. And frankly, just like in any television show, you are an entertainer. Either entertain or be gone. If you decide to lecture me during your entertainment, then I'm going to spend my time somewhere where I'm not lectured all day. I don't know why that's crazy. I don't know why that's like outlandish to think about. I don't know why ESPN doesn't understand it, but I'll tell you this, Outkick the Coverage continues to kick everybody's ass as long as I don't die in a snow-related traffic vehicle accident. But if I do, you have my permission to make fun of me. I am Clay Travis. This has been Outkick the Show. If you enjoy it, share it with your friends. Check out OddsShark. Go to thehomeloanexpert.com. And if you need a lawyer, guess what? I'm a lawyer, bitches. Go to outkicklaw.com. Thank you for hanging with me. This has been Outkick the Show.